Welcome to our exclusive second act night shift mini-series, specially designed for those who are experiencing challenges in their nightly rest routine. We've partnered with night skincare experts Estée Lauder, whose iconic collection, Advanced Night Repair, is designed to support the skin's natural nightly renewal rhythm, harnessing over 40 years of pioneering night science research and repairing the look of sleep-deprived skin. We're talking to some of the UK's leading sleep experts, giving real insight into how to combat the effects of midlife changes to our sleep. Our expert guest for today's episode is Poppy Delbridge. Poppy is a high-performance coach and pioneer in energy psychology. Her incredible techniques, including rapid tapping, help people prevent burnout, stress and anxiety in order to live happier and healthier lives. Poppy, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Sophie.
Now, I have personal experience of rapid tapping. I remember very clearly I was presenting a panel. You were one of my panelists, and I was feeling a little bit nervous. I did the intros. I could hear in my voice that my heart was beating fast. I was shaking a little bit. And then you did your rapid tapping, and literally it transformed me. It was 5 minutes. I was calm. I felt more confident. So I really know it works. Can you just give me a bit of background into how you got into this?
Yes. So that goes back about, 15 years, I would say. And thank you, by the way. I remember that.
I'm a big fan.
I do remember that well. So about 15 years ago, I got into tapping because I had a personal burnout. Mm-hmm. And this is my second career. So I did quite a pivot later on. I used to work in television, creating programs. I worked on big comedy shows, very high paced. I was married, I had my little son, and I had this life that was very, very busy. Mm-hmm. But personal life just completely changed almost overnight. And I found myself having to really work out how I could, first of all, just deal with it. But my health actually really took a toll with that, as it does with now a lot of people I work with. And so tapping was something that my parents were quite early adopters of. It's relatively, new even now. So 1980, a psychologist started it. Uh-huh. And started tapping as you start to work with the psychology of who you are, your beliefs, what you're going through. And the tapping is the felt touch part. So you put both together. For me, that was a real game changer. And I just started using it for stress. It's gone through many, many clinical trials, tapping has.
And you were doing this just for yourself?
Just for myself, absolutely. I was just using it as a kind of secret, to be honest. As many of us do, if you've got to just charge on and do a big job or carry a household or whatever. So I found it, I loved it. And then in the end, fast forward quite a bit of time, it gave me the courage to actually quit that entire career, really, at the top of it. When I was an executive at Warner Brothers, and do it. So now I help people doing this. I do coaching, and that's what I like to do.
That's amazing.
Then rapid tapping came out of that.
And you had the belief in it because it has helped you. It can help with all sorts of things. I mean, obviously mine was a sort of a career. So I know that when you're at a career moment, I guess helping people manifest new careers as well. But other sex life, I heard, there's your health.
Yes.
There's lots of different elements that tapping can impact.
Absolutely. I mean, we've got people doing rapid tapping for every day. Mm-hmm. And that could be love. I've used it with people to help them with their sex lives. Yes. Because a lot of it is confidence.
Okay.
A lot of things in life are about self-belief. And if you don't believe that something is going to happen for you, then there's this gap between where you are and what you want. Mm-hmm. And tapping really closes that gap, because if you use it and you say helpful information, you're using neuroplasticity, your brain's ability to just remodel itself, any age, any circumstance. And you're also reducing the stress that comes out of your amygdala in your brain, which is the fight or flight response. So put those two together, you're in a really receptive state to make changes in your subconscious mind and just in your day-to-day conscious thoughts. So that's why people use it for your health, use it for peak performance, a lot of CEOs I work with.
Okay.
And you can use it for just having a good relationship with people. I used to be quite moody before I started using this back in the day with my partner.
Interesting.
I was stressed out. And you can just use it all the time, very quickly for a couple of minutes.
I think that's one of the things that I love about it is that the rapid tapping, you don't have to commit I know that doing yoga is really good for me. It puts me in a really good mood, but I have to find half an hour of my day to do it. It's very easy to not find that. Whereas rapid tapping really can be very fast, can't it?
Yes, that's why I developed it, because really you can use me as a practitioner. Mm-hmm. But again, you've got to find an hour, you've got to sort it out in your day.
Yeah.
And I really was finding that I needed something quick. So yeah, they're all themed and they're all now ready to roll. For SOS.
Yeah, exactly.
SOS.
Oh, I love that, SOS.
Yes.
Midlife. So our Second Act podcast is all about women in midlife navigating the changes and the opportunities. I think that rapid tapping is really relevant here because there's a lot of, I think confidence is a big thing in midlife. Your body's changing inside and out. Anxiety, you worry about things. I think that's a hormonal thing. There's so many elements of midlife that women struggle with. Do you feel that, or how do you feel, I suppose, that rapid tapping can help women navigate these changes?
Yeah, it's probably the thing I do most, to be honest with you. When we have these thoughts in our head, we tend to think that it's us, that we are anxious, that we are angry, that we are stressed, we are overwhelmed. But what I work with is this idea of the invisible mind patterns, and I call them imps, because I feel as if it takes it away from it just being our fault that we're trying to do all this. And when you think about your mind, it stores information over periods of time. And when you have something happen, which is an emotion, your brain is wired to remember that emotion, whether it's really good or really bad. It doesn't really care about the middle stuff in between. So what's quite cool is when you notice that you're doubting things all the time, or you're pushing a lot all the time, or you're comparing yourself to people all the time, often we think it's just us and we're stuck with it. But what I tend to do is go, okay, who are we behind that? And when you start to use rapid tapping every day, you start to notice that you're tapping your thoughts. So you don't have to avoid the thoughts.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, when you do feel a bit like, oh, I'm not sure I can do this. I'm not sure I can cope with this. Rather than bury that and make it into a pattern and think it's us, which is what many of my clients do, and I do it. You have to be on guard all the time. You can tap as you say it. And it's almost like you're having a conversation with what I would call a little imp going, don't doubt yourself. So you're saying, okay, I feel a bit like I'm anxious. I feel a bit like I can't cope.
I've seen you do it already. I want to
and
join
you just
in.
think,
I love it.
You just think, it's a feeling, but it's not me.
Yes.
So it's about, I think, in midlife, reminding ourselves that behind all of the labels that we've all got to carry, we're still us.
Yes.
And that sometimes gets hard to remember because the patterns are so entrenched. But it's very quick with energy work, like I do, minutes to change that.
Do you find that then the imps, I like that idea, and I think that a lot of negative thoughts that you have, that they're really easy to listen to and to feel like they are reality, but we have weird thoughts all day long, and there's that one's no more real than some other odd thought that I might have. But do you find that they come less, or you just don't care about them and could just tap them away?
The thing about the imps is they're never going to go. It's part of human life.
Okay.
The labyrinth of life is all over the place and we've got to navigate it, the milestones and all these thoughts. The thing about it is just catching them and naming it and spotting it. I say, if you can spot it and you could hear a voice going like, oh no, don't do that. Spot it and then you can stop it. So I don't think they come less, well, certainly not in my experience.
Okay.
They still come in. But we might get used to just pretending they're not there. But the pattern's still there. So you still feel emotionally a bit...
Calling it, naming it. You're
naming it.
You're
the
good.
doubter imp. You're the super pusher imp. I can hear the comparer imp. The diminisher imp comes a lot in midlife. Just keep yourself quiet. Just carry on. So it helps you navigate.
We're partnering with Estee Lauder's advanced night repair range for this podcast. It's a powerhouse product range for people in midlife and ideal for those looking for harder working products in their skincare routine. It targets 7 skin concerns, including line reduction, skin soothing, firmness, skin tone and strength, hydration and radiance, things we hear our second act audience talk about a lot. So the night shift, what we're talking about on this series is sleep, which is a big deal for many midlifers. For me, it's I can fall asleep all right. Everyone has different things, but mine is I can fall asleep all right, but I wake up early. And sometimes I go with that. I'll get up and I'll have a really, long day, and that's great. And I have quiet times, but the fatigue can kind of compound. And I don't know what it is that wakes me up in the morning, but I have so many thoughts going on in my head. How can rapid tapping help address any of these issues?
So essentially, when you wake up and when you go to sleep, it's a state in your brain that is, it's most receptive to behavior change. It's really important because we're never taught that information. So if you do wake up and you immediately think about yesterday or what's coming today, and you've kind of patterned yourself to, I'm tired, or you start saying things. Do you ever do that when you're just like, I've got loads to do today, I'm really tired. How are you? I'm not good, I'm tired. You really want to use that time just as you wake up and just before you go to sleep, because it's a very thin veil for change. So I always say to people, and this is what I do, just as soon as you wake up, start quickly doing a flow like this. Tapping through and taking some breath. Because that will mean that your nervous system is receptive for its most natural state. And then you can start to say a helpful piece of information to yourself.
Okay.
So what do you want to feel like today? I want to feel confident. So you might say, I'm confident today. I'm confident today. So you want to use that information. And then just before we go to sleep, same thing. And often we're thinking about what's happened, what's gone wrong.
What's coming up tomorrow, what I haven't got time for. Yeah.
And rather than ignore that, because we always have those thoughts. Okay. What you're doing is you're using the thoughts in rapid tapping. So you actually speak the thoughts in a 3-part system. So you basically say, I feel, like I can't switch off. That's often one. Yeah. I feel busy. I feel like I'm replaying the day. I feel stressed.
So you name
it. You name it always, acknowledge it, name it. And then you accept it really quickly. So it's like, okay, because, I've had a really busy day. And that's that little liminal point where you want to go, okay, now I'm going to say something affirmative, helpful, positive, that will make me feel happier. Yeah. The great thing about it is your body really remembers those emotions, but only really when you start to put them into your own conscious mind. So beginning, as soon as you wake up, little tap through, flush it out. I call it a morning flush. We always wake up, I flush it out. And then before you go to sleep, exactly the same thing. And you will start to feel really quickly that you're actually changing day by day. People say to me, I've shifted day by day just by doing literally 2 minutes.
That's amazing.
In the morning and in the evening, I say start there and that's it, and then build up.
And do you think that you can use tapping, or perhaps the breathing that goes with tapping, if you wake up in the night? Because I know a lot of my friends struggle with that. They wake up, 2 o'clock in the morning, and then they're, for a couple of hours, they're really struggling to get back to sleep again. Yeah,
it's really hard. And there's lots to think about, because when you wake up, you're like, should I get out of bed? Should I stay here? Should I keep the light off? Should I turn the light on? What I tend to do with my clients is I say, stay where you are for a moment and go through this little tiny sequence of the 3 A's. Number 1, acknowledge that you can't sleep. Okay. And I would say to people, put your hands on your heart and start to push on these sore spots. Take a breath.
So a bit more gentle.
Gentle. Well, it's like a massage. It's like a neurolymphatic switch. So you're allowing yourself just to relax just by doing it. Push. And then first thing is just say, okay, I can't sleep. So just say how you feel about that. I can't sleep. Probably irritated.
Frustrated.
I can't sleep because try and name it again. Because, and you can do this in your head.
Yeah.
You know, if someone next to you, do it in your head. I have to be saying it. And then say, because I can't sleep again. It's very simple.
Yeah.
And then move it again into your affirmation. Okay. But it is possible for me to relax. And sometimes just literally
relaxing is probably enough. And maybe if I don't fall asleep, it's fine. And probably at that point, maybe you will. But
yeah. And then obviously do, if you can't, I would say start to use tapping just before you go to sleep again, just to relax. Start to use it as a bit of a ritual for yourself. It only takes a couple of minutes.
What would you say if you had to think of, some of the midlife women that you've worked with? What have been the biggest, almost sort of the things that you have enjoyed seeing the results of?
Oh, so much, Sophie. I'm with myself, to be honest. Milestones in life, they're not to be taken lightly. And what I really mostly enjoy is, I can work with people to get results like, I don't know, if they want to do better at a career or if they want something specific or, they want to change where they live or their home or their relationships. But I think the best thing for me is always finding that level within someone where they feel within themselves that they've sort of got in touch with their power again and what that is behind all the labels that are put on us.
Yes.
In midlife, going through these changes, to be able to feel confident in your own skin is why I do it every day. And when you do feel like that, everything else changes because you start to take your little actions from a different energy. You reclaim your energy, start to feel like you've got more energy in the day. And so most people say to me, wow, I feel different and I'm acting differently because of it. And they start to like themselves a lot more.
That's so nice.
Which is so nice.
It is. It's great. And I think that, being a midlifer, it can feel daunting. And I really knew what I was doing 20 years ago. This is a new start. What do I want? What should I do? But I think we must stay positive as well, because when we talk about happiness and the happiness U curve, we're on the up now. So if we can sort out these little bits that are, the stumbling blocks at the beginning, then, the way is up for us. So it's exciting times.
That is so true. We forget that, don't we? Yeah, it is exciting.
And getting some good sleep is a good way
we
make
need it.
Work. Thanks so much for joining us, Poppy. That was really fascinating. And I think our audience will have so many takeaways from our chat. Please join us next week for some more sleep tips. This episode was brought to you by Estee Lauder's Advanced Night Repair. Wind down with a free beauty sleep glow facial at your nearest Estee Lauder counter. Book online or in store.